my secret technique. Please watch till the end of this video because I will show how the ceiling joints cannot possibly crack by implementing my secret technique. Meron pong Tagalog version ng video ito. Pindutin lang po ang subscribe button sa ibaba para madaling mahanap ang Pinoy version nito. This is a video tutorial on the easiest, cheapest, fastest, and permanent way that I know so far to prevent joint cracks on ceilings. I made this video for all the house and building painters, new constructors, builders, architects, engineers, DIYers, and Filipino OFWs. This ceiling finishing work will be easier, faster, less expensive, and thereby work quotations and costs will be lower. I have not seen any other painter, builder, or constructor use this method, or maybe because I will be the first to teach everyone this construction finishing technique secret.
Why do FISM ceilings easily crack?
Cracks easily develop on FISM board ceilings by the changes in temperature. During daytime, or morning till afternoon, the ceiling boards tend to expand or swell. During nighttime or during cold weather, these boards contract or shrink, making minute movements that cause cracks. There are other factors such as bending of ceiling joists or ceiling metal fairings due to temperature changes and or vibration. Before, I tried numerous other finishing techniques on the ceiling joints to prevent the dreaded cracks. I tried the ceiling fiberglass mesh tape with paint putty, but even just the next day, cracks are already visible. One of my painters suggested that we use white wood glue combined with calcimine powder or patching compound powder, but to no avail, and aside from the additional materials and efforts, cracks also appear after a day. We even tried white wood glue mixed with patching compound plus fiberglass tape. I also tried body filler with hardener, which is usually used in carb work and repainting. I likewise tried the epoxy two-part adhesive and tape method, but it is very hard to prevent the epoxy from falling or running during curing. I haven't tried using the epoxy clay because epoxy in itself is expensive to use.
A short pause for the video creator's profile.
Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Bobby Lantion. I am a civil engineer by profession. I also do structural analysis and design for both steel and concrete structures. I am also a consultant for several construction companies. I am a constructor for nearly 25 years already. Please like and share my videos, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so I can be inclined to do more videos relevant to my construction secret details and experiences. If you have any questions or reactions, leave a comment below and I will try my best to respond. Likewise, if you want a topic for me to discuss, I will try to prepare an appropriate video for you. Also leave a message below if you need my help in your construction projects. Necessary tools and supplies to use. Of course, the ceiling assembly, sandpapers, painter's spatula, baby paint roller, and the two major work supplies, the skimcoat, which is super fine and white in color, and the elastomeric paint.
This is the actual video tutorial.
As you can see, I have asked my worker to fabricate a small sample of ceiling assembly using metal fairings and 0.5 mm thick FISM board or hardiflex. Please note that I also included FISM board edge connection without underneath perpendicular metal fairings to show you how effective this work method will be. I also prepared different spacing between two FISM boards. Also note that my worker used blind rivets as fasteners for the FISM boards. But in actual work, the commonly used screw are the gypsum board screw or the flat tapered head screw. My worker just used blind rivets because the commonly used screw will protrude on the underside of my mock ceiling. Now, let us start with the actual work. Do some light sanding using number 100 or any medium-sized grit sandpaper on the connections to remove burrs or edges on the FISM board edges. Then ascertain you remove all dust in the assembly. Cleanliness is a major factor in this work to ensure utmost or absolute bond between FISM boards and skim coat, and eventually with elastomeric paint. Prepare the mix of dry skim coat and water. Before mixing, make sure to read and follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to prepare the skim coat paste. A pre-mixed paint putty or patching compound mixed with paint can be substituted instead of the skim coat paste, but I prefer the skim coat paste because of its ease in use and cheaper in cost. Using a painter's spatula, apply the skim coat paste to the spaces between the FISM board connections. In actual work, I always instruct my painters to apply the skim coat paste in such a way that no sanding or very minimal sanding is required. I also instruct them that to, as much as possible, avoid applying skim coat over the exposed surface of the FISM board because lots of sanding will be required to ensure that the ceiling will have no visible bump or hump or wavy appearance when fully completed. After around 2 to 4 hours, the skim coat is partly set. You can apply a second coat if you see depressions. Skim coat fully dries in 12 to 24 hours. After the skim coat had fully dried, inspect and sand the visible humps on the skim coat and the FISM board. Sand if necessary. Again, ascertain that your work is clean and free from dust. You can now apply the elastomeric paint. Elastomeric paints are applied straight from the can. With the use of a baby paint roller, apply one coat of elastomeric paint to the FISM board edge connections. Allow it to dry for at least 1 hour. One important roller painting tip from my experienced painter is to keep the roller loaded with paint and use enough pressure to release and spread the paint. Never push the roller to squeeze out the last drop of paint because it will only cause inconsistent layers, lap marks, and accumulations of more paint layer than other areas. At least every hour, apply the second to the 5th coat of elastomeric paint. This is the secret detail I want to convey to you. Apply at least 5 coats of elastomeric paint. Allow at least 1 hour after every coat. This method may seem to benefit small savings on small ceiling areas, but big savings can be attained on large ceiling areas like offices, buildings, manufacturing plants, malls, and many others.
How this work method won't fail or less likely to fail.
After 2 days of paint drying time, look at the ways that I tried to have cracks develop on the FISM board connections. I stood on my mock ceiling. I distorted or warped the ceiling assembly with my hands. To mimic extreme conditions, I placed props on all corners and stepped on the center. I also did this on the backwards or upside down position. I did this just so as to deflect the assembly that will cause bending, tension, torsion, and shear on the joint connections. All of these are extreme conditions on the FISM board connections, but still no visible cracks.
Removal of half of the installed FISM boards from the metal fur rings.
As I said earlier, my worker installed blind rivets as fasteners of the FISM board to the metal fairings, so I used an electric drill to remove them. I pried off the FISM boards from the metal fairings using spatula and flathead screwdriver. Look, cracks do not appear even by bending the half of the FISM boards. This dried 5 coats of elastomeric paint is flexible and will stay flexible for a long time. I have seen thick coatings like this during times when we remove old ceilings that are more than 20 years old already. But maybe elastomeric paints are not yet commercially available during that period. With this personal experience, this is the logic why I thought of using the flexible elastomeric paints to solve my ceiling crack problems. Please like and share my videos, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell so I can be inclined to do more videos relevant to my construction secret details and experiences.